everyone, and welcome to Partner News Live, June the 3rd of 2026. And again, I welcome my best friend in the whole wide world, Shellie Stapp. Shellie, how are you?
Hello, I am doing fine. Really, really good.
Good to know. I'm going to ask you to do our usual promotional pitch for Team Texas first. Just to mention to everybody that we've got Brandon Hagman on today. He's got something very exciting to tell us all about the hub. You should all know what I'm talking about when I mention the hub, but we now have an API, which means when you put in all of your details into the hub, the API picks up all the information, sticks it straight into the order system at Verizon. And then our big guest for today, with whom we'll be speaking live, because the Brandon one is actually recorded. It's about a minute and a half. We'll run it shortly. But then we're going to have waiting in the wings just now. We're going to have Dan Allen back again, dear old Dan Allen. He's talking about the DBIR Data Breach Investigation Report. Incredible piece of work, but I don't want to steal his thunder. But right now, Shellie Stapp, please will you tell us all about Team Texas?
Yes, Neil, our sponsors are Team Texas, based very close to the Dallas Fort Worth Airport. Team Texas will arrange an amazing day out for you, your staff, or your business customers or prospects. David Starr is very knowledgeable of all the Verizon products and services and is the best spokesperson you could ever wish for. He and his co owner, Kim, will create an event tailored especially to your needs and wishes. And as a Connect Us partner, they will give you a special price and fantastic service.
Hey, thank you for doing that. Listen, I can detect a little bit of a tickle on your throat. So I'm going to invite you to go and get a glass of water just now and let me go with Brandon Hagman's video. Let's do that now.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. We wanted to go through a massive update that's taken place inside the CPN Hub. You may have noticed this little V logo pop up on your tickets. That is the Verizon API now communicating directly with the CPN Hub and updating our tickets automatically when specific information is inserted into the ticket. So this is a huge deal for us. It's a huge win, reaching out to Verizon and getting them to agree to allow our system to communicate with theirs. What this means ultimately is a better customer experience all around. So we are able to get the information from Verizon to you and your customers faster than what we could manually, which is amazing. So the V logo is going to be up here by your order number on your ticket. So anytime you see that, that means that Verizon system is working and pulling information in. The fields that are required are the opportunity ID, the order ID, and the cart ID. So for those of you that are keying your own orders, when you send those tickets to us, if you put those fields in your ticket submission, the Verizon API is automatically going to be kicking in and searching for tracking information as the ticket gets updated in their system. Before, we would have to manually go in and check those tickets, once, twice, 3 times a day until we found the tracking information that we were looking for and close the ticket out. So when you are sending your tickets in that are complete, if you can send that information to us, that would be incredible. If it's not there, someone at Connect Us, your wireless support specialist, will go in and grab the information, put it in the fields here, and Verizon's API will kick in after that and start filling in the information. So we're still working diligently on the back end to make this work tons better and to get information out to you, but just wanted to go through and let you know that changes are here, changes are coming. It's only going to get bigger and better as we go, and this is a huge step forward for us, for our partnership with you all, and for the overall customer experience. So we wanted to thank you guys so much for your partnership and wanted to share the good news about this massive update in the CPN Hub. So we appreciate you all. Thank you so much, and be on the lookout for more videos like this coming your way.
So, Shellie, exciting times at the hub. That's very, very welcome. How's your throat now? You up to telling us about a couple of new offers?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
Here's some streamline plans. Back to you, Neil.
Uh, thank you, Shelley. I'm glad it's you that does that. These are very wordy offers, and these are
They
after
really
I
are.
know that you've already edited them down from the pages and pages in the what Verizon calls the OSTs, the one source of truth. So, thank you very much for doing that.
You're welcome.
We, yeah, thank you. I do appreciate it. So Dan Allen is ready to go. Let's have a conversation with him, and you and I will get back together again in 10 or 15 minutes. Okay? See you shortly. Dan, it's so great to see you again. Who would have known it would be such a short time between the last time we spoke?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But I'm super excited to be chatting about the DBIR today. So
All right, fantastic. I'm going to bring up the front page in just a moment. Do you want to just give everyone a quick overview? It was published maybe just a couple of weeks ago, but you've had time to go through it and with a fine tooth comb. How many pages is it, Dan?
man, I'll tell you, these reports are big. 121 pages for this one. So it's definitely the how you eat an elephant approach. One bite at a time. I don't necessarily recommend it be your nighttime reading. You may never get through it. However, taking some every day and digesting it over a week or two can definitely help you better understand the report.
No, with you, and this is great, Dan. You're coming on today to give us the highlights of it. So those that don't wish to read 121 pages, at least get a flavour of the most pertinent points, which obviously can be used in due course when speaking to prospects and existing customers to arm them up with some good details that they can use when talking to the end business customers. So here we are. Here's the front page of it. Very pretty, well thought out visuals throughout the whole 121 pages. But I mean, the introduction, just give us an overview, please, of what it's telling us all about.
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, within this 121 pages, it's analyzing a data set of about 31,000 security incidents, and then the 22,000 breaches that are included, and that's where we're coming up with some of this data. And if you take a look at slide 3, and this is one of the slides I always like to look at because I want to compare and contrast, you know, what does it look like over the last couple of years? How things changed for this most recent version? And when you take a look, you can definitely see that we've got those 5 different categories: the system intrusion, social engineering, basic web app attacks, miscellaneous areas, and privilege misuse. And the first thing that I noticed when I looked at this, and of course it's hard, when you look, you see the colors. Colors help you identify the different categories, which is great, but they don't seem like extreme changes. So them including the percentages for me is helpful. If you go back to 24, you can see the privilege misuse. That could be sharing of credentials. It could be a number of different things, was 8%, and it's gone down to 3%. And as we get deeper into talking about this year's DBIR, one thing that's going to be coming to the fore is the use of generative AI. So, and that's one of the reasons we're seeing less of some of these things like privilege misuse and more of just raw brute force system intrusion.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, listen, just while folks are looking at this, just want to point out be careful when you're looking at the colors because although the red and the purple have stayed the same between 2024 and 2026, the labeling of the middle three, the yellow and the orange and the purple pink, have changed just a little bit. So this is a great summary, but just be careful that we're not always comparing apples to oranges in the second, third, and fourth elements on this diagram, everybody. Dan, I'm sorry. I apologize for interrupting you there.
Oh, no, that's a great call out. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it would be easy for one to look at the colors. And if they just look at red alone without confirming that those are all system intrusion, you could end up, kind of getting misinformation, if you will. So it definitely requires some attention to detail. And that's going to be a fixture throughout going through this report. So good call out. Thank you for that, Neil.
So there is a long introduction. Why do you think they take a long time during the 121 pages talking about the scope of the report and then scene setting for everybody?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it is an exhaustive report, and it's important that folks who go into this report have an understanding of how to use it. So the first 8 pages following this little brief introduction goes into essentially how to use the report, how the report flows, different uses of visuals like we had on slide number 3 and so forth. So otherwise, it's just going to be extremely confusing. So it is a nice walkthrough, exhaustive for sure. 8 pages of information just on how to read the report is a lot. But when you factor in the fact that the report's 121 pages, I think it works well within the the general context of the report itself.
You bet. Now, I think one of the earliest topics that's heavily talked about in this report is the rise of vulnerability, the exploitation of vulnerabilities. I wonder, would you like to talk to that first?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that because as I was going through the vulnerability exploitation and the changes therein, I didn't realize it, but this report's been around for 19 years, so it didn't really
Mm.
come into my attention until probably 6 or 7 years ago when I started using it and started tracking some of the information that it provides. But credentials is now off the top spot. Credential violations has been in the top spot for a while, and now exploitation of vulnerabilities, excuse me, has now moved into that top spot and is now 31% of incidents. So there's been a very clear shift from the phishing approach, which requires manpower. I mean, there's definitely some generative AI phishing, but primarily manpower based. Scanning front patch software and so forth, edge devices, any way to get within the network somewhere, so then they can further infiltrate it for ransomware, which is always monetary based. So that's kind of an interesting situation, and I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. I think most people in their jobs are seeing how AI is coming in and becoming a tool. And of course, if it's a tool for us, it's a tool for these bad actors.
Now, I think this is the chapter that talks about the importance of patching. And I think, if I remember rightly, one of the statistics was that even larger businesses still don't manage to patch a vulnerability within the first week after detecting the vulnerability. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
tell,
yeah. That's
tell-
Yeah, and that goes hand in hand. I mean, we're at a patching capacity crisis. So you're exactly right. When these vulnerabilities are noticed, the median time to resolve that is almost a month and a half. So 43 days. Last year was 32. So it's a huge change. And what's happening now, of course, and we'll talk about Gen AI here in a minute, but these losing time here. So the patching time being extended is creating a huge problem because AI works faster in scale.
yes.
So, whereas you may have the human element as the bad actor working as effectively as possible to exploit the vulnerability they know that's there.
Mhm.
Well, AI doesn't sleep. AI just continues to employ human like characteristics in order to infiltrate and take advantage of those vulnerabilities. So one interesting stat that I documented is for deep application flaws like improper input validation, the median time for software development teams to fix just half of identified flaws is 13 months. That's insane. So again, these bad actors are becoming more efficient. Our timelines to fix are growing. So that really needs to be reversed if we're going to address the vulnerability exploitation piece.
You bet. So you talk there about the delay in companies being able to respond, but I mean, you also mentioned generative AI, and generative AI can do things much, much faster. What sort of things can AI do that, for example, it wasn't doing when we last talked about the DBIR, what, 12 months ago?
Yeah, it's amazing how fast things have changed. So a big piece or strategy of Gen AI, first of all, it's automating target selection. So it's out there finding the highest probability of vulnerability. So when we think about some of the changes, if we look at our previous 2025 DBIR, there's been a shift from these large corporate attacks to going toward more medium and small businesses. Well, AI is going to do the same thing and further increase that because they recognize that these smaller businesses aren't necessarily putting the spend into their security that these larger corporate IT groups are. So that's one piece of what they're doing as far as how Gen AI works, and they can do very quick vulnerability research. So it's not like a human where they're very time restrictive, and then they're able to scale those attacks and over, with that brute force approach, and really AI can instantly weaponize those vulnerabilities. Whereas if it's a human, again, we talk about scalability, it takes more time. So
Yes.
it's compressing those windows to be able to effectively attack within hours versus, a human strategy that may take a week or two.
I'm with you. You and I had a previous conversation, not about DBIR specifically, but we were talking about ransomware and the fact that the amount of money that is demanded and ultimately usually paid for ransomware has been decreasing. And at first blush, one would think, oh, this is this is an improvement, but it's not. I mean, in your view, is the generative AI attacking smaller let's talk about it, SMBs now, so they can attack more companies further down, and they're actually getting more money just by asking for smaller amounts based upon what that SMB can afford.
Right. And we know that AI is extremely intelligent. AI is going to be able to more effectively analyze, where's my range of ask with ransomware. So a 44 to 48% increase in breaches that are ransomware driven doesn't seem like a lot, but you're right. So that number goes down, and if you look at it on the surface, you might be like, "Oh, hey, it's getting better." We went from, I think last year was 150, and I believe this year's 139K. I'd want to double check those numbers within
Sure.
the report, but it again on the surface, hey, wow, things are getting better. No, there's more attacks. The one thing that has improved, which I found very interesting, and this may be because there are more smaller businesses getting involved in these breaches and ransomware attempts. 69% of victims they're just not paying. So I don't know if it's because they maybe have an investment in software that they're like, well, I hate to lose this, but we'll just scrap Service Titan and go with another provider. There's a number of potential reasons why they're not paying. It could also be that they just don't have the money. $50,000 to a two-person shop. Let's say it's a plumber as an example.
Yeah.
50 grand may not seem like a lot of money, but to them it is. So I do find that very interesting that the only 69% of the are just not paying. So I think that's a positive thing. I don't know that it's going to thwart these small business attacks, but it is something to consider.
Okay. Something, when I look at this page we've got up here, it occurs to me, Dan, I don't know what a third party breach is. I thought they were all third parties.
That's a great question, Neil. So I will follow up your question Jeopardy style with my own question. Do you do you use any AI in your day to day?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Have you ever used information from your job in AI, maybe to polish it, or to create a chart, or an Excel sheet, or a presentation, or anything like that?
Now yeah, that's an interesting question. Yes, I have, but bearing in mind that I know that, for example, ChatGPT remembers everything, I've actually obfuscated the most important identifying information. But I would imagine that most people, when they were using it, would just give all the information necessary for ChatGPT or whatever Copilot to give the best answer.
And there you are. So again, we mentioned how AI is getting more and more popular. Obviously, not just from a threat perspective, but it's a valuable tool. It works amazing. You can do incredible things with it. But unfortunately, some folks don't recognize the risk of putting specific information. They may even take a document, upload the entire document or spreadsheet or whatever, and they're only wanting to focus on one piece. But unfortunately, it's all there.
shared everything. I'm sorry to interrupt. It just occurred to me that some friends of mine, matter of months ago, were sort of poo-pooing and making a joke of young men falling in love with AI girlfriends. Now, that's not happened to me, honestly, Your Honor. That's not happened to me, but I have actually typed into Chat GPT as if it is a person. It's given me wrong answers. I have admonished it. It has apologized, and ChatGPT, to my mind, responds, albeit in text, in the way that I would anticipate a 20 something Gen Z speaking to me in the real world. So I should imagine it's very easy for a normal person to come over time to believe that they are talking to another person who feels like a friend. So I could imagine that somebody would accidentally, in the course, trust that friend to give them the company spreadsheet to lend it for a few moments this confidential information, not realizing that this is now recorded in perpetuity by ChatGPT, because of course anything that's on the internet, even if it's behind a firewall, will never be forgotten. Will never be
Yeah,
forgotten.
yeah, and that's a great call out because the whole, I shouldn't say the whole purpose, but one of the benefits of generative AI is they're trying to be as human as possible. So it is very easy to get drawn into a conversation and then potentially divulge something. So yeah, it's a very interesting landscape that we have in front of us when it comes to AI and its impact on these different bad actors.
Dan, I know that the folks watching are going to have some questions, so I'd invite them to get in contact with you or with me or their favorite people at Connectus, of course. If you would like a copy of this year's DBIR, the easiest way is to write to Dan or to myself. Dan is D Allen, DALLEN at connectus.com. And I am, of course, Neil, NEIL at connectus.com. Write to us if you'd like a copy of this report. But of course, we are here to help you to sell. We're not going to do a sales pitch to you, the partners, right this minute, but you know that Verizon and many of our other partners have got solutions that you could be pitching to make, to be upselling, cross-selling, to make some more money. Dan, any last words for our partners before we part today?
I mean, the last words really is as we engage with our valued businesses that we support, making sure that we're at the very least presenting the security products offered through Verizon is critical. The last thing we want is one of our businesses coming to us and saying that they've been ransomware or they've been infiltrated in some way. So I think we have an important role to play. Obviously, we're not here to strong arm anyone, but the information contained in the DBIR definitely helps us with product placement to make sure that they are.
Yeah. It's very compelling once you dive down into the weeds of the 121 pages. There is some very concerning information here, and if you would like to cherry pick through, or indeed if you'd like some advice from us on what to pitch first to convince your business clients, they really do need to protect their own businesses, because I mean we've said this before. It's a lot less expensive to pay a monthly fee for protection than it is to pay ransomware or have your business disrupted completely. But of course, I am preaching to the choir here. Dan, listen, thank you very much for coming on today. I appreciate the work you've put into reading through this report and summarizing it for us today.
Always a pleasure, Neil.
Look forward to next time. You
Yeah.
take care. Ah, Shellie, fantastic seeing Dan again.
It was great.
Yeah, he's so knowledgeable. I am going to be calling upon him again. Actually, I've just remembered I've invited him next week. We won't have him on Partner News Live, but I'm going to do a longer analysis of the DBIR, I think, in a winner's circle. So that one, will probably take
Yeah.
30, 40, even 50 minutes. So looking forward to that, everybody. And we should have that ready by the middle of June. So, listen, you've been having a busy time. You've been having some very late nights keeping up with your other exciting activities. Tell us
Yes.
a little bit.
So what's been happening for several weeks or months, I should say, is I just sent a client off to the Talent and Modeling Expo in Dallas. It is a big deal. They have all kinds of agents from all over. They have talent scouts, casting, and the great part is she's going to be able to model. She has a runway. Part of her competition, she'll be singing and she'll be doing a monologue. It's a funny
Yeah.
one too. And this place here, I've actually had a client that got signed and she moved out to California. So it is possible. And the best part is she's only 8.
Wow. Goodness sakes. Bless her.
Yes,
Good,
so
good.
I'm very, very excited.
I'm not surprised. Look forward to hearing more about that. Shellie, thanks for being with me today. Thank you for doing the heavy lifting, as it were, with the offers. Thanks to Brandon Hagman for doing his reporting about the hub. Very, very exciting with this new API. So much time it's going to save. Thanks to Dan Allen for talking about the DBIR. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you on June 17th. Look forward to that. Y'all take care.
Bye bye.